Yo, welcome back. Man, I was gonna start the show by saying that, my sinuses from last week had subsided, but that was honestly the worst possible entrance we could have done. Yo, welcome back to the Out of the Box Show. I'm John Wallace alongside my co-host James Luffy. And James, it is madness. It is madness. March Madness is here, and LSU baseball is on a roll. People are matching to go to med school. Weddings are every weekend. The St. Patrick's Day parade in Baton Rouge. The best day in Baton Rouge for the year is this weekend. You and I are both riding. Could it be a better time right now? Could it be a better time of year?
This is March.
This is March. And the craziness started today. We're recording late in the week because, you know what? It's been a long, and we wanted to get together and celebrate and talk some sports and treat this more of a celebration, being able to record a podcast on sports later in the week. Luffy, how's your bracket doing?
It's busted, John. It's a busty bracket. How's yours doing?
Mine is not faring very well. I think it is always amazing how, even non-sports fans, like at work today, I'm sitting there and you're trying to get stuff done. You really are doing your best and all that. But when they have this kind of madness going on, and the way Furman, number 13, was able to beat Virginia today, last second inbound pass and drilling a three at the end. I mean, it's a feeling that I don't want to say it's a feeling that you only get once a year, because there are certain things like when LSU baseball or when LSU, converts a 2-point conversion and overtime against Bama, like you get that feeling, but you only get it in a few moments of the year and in your life. And even though these teams are not teams that you would typically root for, it's just the craziness of the situation.
And there's something to it to where it's like, if LSU was in it every year as like a 3 and 4 seed, to watch these teams go in the first round, like that would drive me nuts. Like I'd love to be in it, and it was fun. We had a little weight and we were relevant. But at the same time, like it'd be so tough to be a Virginia fan or an Arizona fan or something. Yeah, a team that loses in the first round, like that's gotta be crushing. Just knowing you're the better team. Like in football, that doesn't really happen. In baseball, it can happen, but it's less likely because they're playing series, and it's just that's gotta be tough. But it's very exciting to watch. Like from the outside for us, it's very exciting to watch. And practice busting.
I mean, you just see the emotion. Like today when Arizona lost to Princeton, number 2 against the number 50, you're like, they show the point guard's mom that makes the crucial mistake or whatever. It's just like, it's almost like I wish LSU was in it for the good times, but for the bad times, it's like, you go to a dark place. It's like when LSU lost to Florida State the first game this year, when we doinked the field goal off the goalpost. It's that sort of feeling. But with March, it is all part of it. And like you said, for us, it's just great to just be able to watch it and just see the craziness of it. Because I mean, I'll be honest, and I think you probably could be too. Like we aren't, us personally, like diehard college basketball fans. I think it's very appropriate to say that we're LSU baseball and football fans, and football and baseball fans in general.
Yeah, but when LSU's good, and we talk about this a lot, but I'm dialed into what's going on around the country in college basketball. But whenever it's a down year like this year, it's just like I'll watch the tournament for a little bit,
It's tough. And when you the only thing that makes it better is guys like Mr. Dennis on Twitter, with his fandom of Creighton, and he actually did with stats and whatnot. But all that to say, it is March. It is a great time of year. I don't think there's many times a year in which you have all sorts of things that kind of jive together in a year, like March Madness, crawfish. You got the XFL, like you mentioned last week at the end of the episode, St. Patrick's Day, weddings. It's all good stuff. There's not a bad daylight savings time. The days are getting longer.
Especially also.
Yes, I was telling you right before this, I want to start playing more golf this year, and hopefully maybe we can do some lessons. Maybe you can coach me on my stroke. But Anyway, all that to say, great intro to the show. We have a packed show for you guys. Can't wait to get to it. But before we get to all that, I have a major congratulations to make. We talk about it all the time. We talk about some of the best things that you can do in your life, finding the one you love, asking them to be your partner for the rest of your life, looking forward to the great memories that you have. And, it just makes me start to think about some of the best things that you can do in life. And one of the best things that you can do in life is to find the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. And in the same breath as finding the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with being one of the best things that you do, Blaine Luke with Keller Williams Realty wants you to know that you can call or text him at any time at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. Blaine wants to be your realtor. Blaine is my realtor. I cannot stress this enough. I have used Blaine in real estate transactions. I call him for questions. He is honest. He is dependable. He answers day and night. Blaine Luke is the best realtor you are going to get in the New Orleans, Greater Baton Rouge, Louisiana area. Call or text him, even if, just say for example, you cannot find a realtor that is licensed in your area, and say you're even out of state. Blaine would love to even give you real estate advice if he's looking to get licensed in the state, and he's not just yet. He wants to help you out. He wants to give you advice so that you can find the home of your dreams, sell the home of your dreams, find the home of your dreams, find somebody to rent out your investment property, or find you somewhere to rent. Blaine is the best in the business. He is the best time of year in the same way that Blaine is the best realtor of the year. So just like spring, this is the best time of year. Blaine is the best realtor of the year. Make sure to call or text him at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. And love it.
Yep.
You looked a little confused whenever I was going through that at the beginning of that ad read. I was getting a little sentimental. I was getting very deep, and I just wanted to say that it's a very special time in your life to get Blaine Luke to be your realtor. And also, by the way, had you all fooled, Rory Luke engaged. It's official. He is ready to rock and roll. I wish he was on the podcast with us tonight so that we could finally, we had given Blaine enough congratulations for getting engaged. He's already married. He's been married. I was at his wedding months ago.
No more for you, Blaine.
Blaine, you're done. You're done as far as congratulations go. You're not done as far as us hyping you up and you being the best realtor in the state.
Congratulations, Rory, and soon to be Hannah Luke.
Yes,
beautiful. It flows beautiful there, just like the sun. And congrats to young John James, Crane
Webster,
Luke. Yes, that's it. And congrats to him as well. Very happy for him and his parents. And Rory and Hannah Luke coming soon. Loading, as the kids say.
Loading. I love that. I love that. And it's not buffering. It's gonna come up sooner rather than later. As we find out at this time in our lives, weddings are a big prevalent thing. And I was telling you beforehand, I want to thank Rory. Like, my first reaction was of course elation for Rory and Hannah and Crane, John James, Webster, Luke, and everyone involved, their families and whatnot. My second thought was, wow, okay, we gotta plan an engagement party. We gotta plan a wedding, and
planning all that.
I am not gonna have to pay for a single beer at either of those. So that really makes me happy. So first thought, congratulations, very happy for them. Second thought, free beer for me. Also, wow, this has been great. We're rolling, but want to give a huge shout out to the Boot Crew Media Network. Boot Crew Media is killing it this time of year. The Pels kind of haven't been doing too hot, and you know where you're going to get the most honest takes on the Pels, Pro Pels Talks, and the Pelicans Report on Boot Crew Media. Make sure to check them out as well. Saints news all over the place. Jameis Winston signed on another year to be the backup in New Orleans because he loves the city. So
right. 504 Jameis.
504. Make sure to follow the Boot Crew Media Network at bootcrewmedia.com and on social media at Boot Crew Media. Shout out Chris Calderera. Gonna start posting articles. SEC play starts tonight as you're listening to this. LSU baseball heading up to College Station. But before we get to that,
Wait, Don, have you checked the bracket lead?
am I in first?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right,
Okay, good.
I didn't hear one because I figured I couldn't win.
Well, no, yeah, and it would also probably be pretty messed up if we won our own bracket challenge. But so to provide a quick update on that, since March Madness is the pressing thing at the moment, we were able to get some sick designs in for the out of the box polos. We actually were able to get it together without our fashion guy Rory. Luffy approves of the out of the box polo. If you want to see a picture of it, make sure to text us. And the winner will receive an out of the box hat. Have to be following us to win. There's no questions asked about that. Like we can't just be giving out just awesome fire merch to randos.
Ooh.
And the way Luffy's looking at his phone, I feel like a rando's winning right now.
Okay. Jake I Am Stewart is leading the bracket challenge, and he has Marquette winning it all. Nate Oates Conscious is in second, but he has Arizona, so it's not looking good for him. And our very own Raw Dog Luke is in third.
Yes, and I think it's worth mentioning, and we'll go ahead and say, like, if one of us three were to win the bracket challenge, it would go to the second place. But
Yes, no doubt.
you best believe I would mention it on every single podcast episode till the end of time. So all that to say, thank you guys so much for joining the bracket challenge. We have a great time doing it. We're excited to release this is the first ever out of the box polo shirts that we're doing. You can literally wear these to work. Like they're like LSU shirts. I designed them. I designed them, but don't be afraid Luffy approved them. It doesn't matter who designed them as long as the person who approved them is a fashion guy. And as Luffy has told me in the past many, many times, I'm not a fashion guy. So they are Luffy and Rory approved. Those guys are the swaggiest guys in the Out of the Box podcast. All right. We gotta talk some LSU baseball. We have to, Luffy. I know up to this point, LSU is 16-1. We haven't played anybody, but I'm going to say something that's a little depressing. And I want you to take this with a grain of salt, and I want you to be happy that it happened, be glad that it's over, but happy that it happened. Okay. LSU baseball is 30.4% of the way done through the regular season.
Okay.
1/3, essentially.
I'm happy that happened because I'm ready to see some SEC play.
Well, I think that's a smart thing for you to say.
Is that the regular season?
Regular season, yes.
Okay.
So 56 games. We played 17. If you want to check my math. By the way, I have a lot of stats for this section of the Out the Box podcast. For whatever reason, today I was sitting there and I was like, you know what? I want to be a stats guy on tonight's podcast. So all that to say, I'm going to be just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what comes back. LSU's 16-1 thus far. Sweeps Samford, not Stanford, Samford. And I think the most impressive part is that we did it in 21 innings, Luffy. Like, we were able to get it together and not just have one great day, but a complete weekend of not perfect baseball, but the closest thing to it at the box in Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge the week before we go on the road to face the number 11 Texas A&M Aggies.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful start to the weekend. Good last weekend. John, how about you read off some stats and then we talk about it?
All right.
Just list them off.
All right.
Because the game.
We are not going game by game.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Same
That's
as
not
last
worth
week.
it.
What was the score differential?
Score differential on the Samford series and the UNO game, midweek game, 52-2.
Yeah.
52 runs to 2 runs.
Yeah. So
We played 21 innings of baseball against Sanford, 10-run rule every single game. And I can't help but think whenever I hear about the 10-run rule, because the coaches have to agree to it before the game, I can't help but think, like, how awkward is it? Who initiates that conversation, like when Jay Johnson and the opposing coach meet with the umpire before the game? And is Jay like, all right, hey, coach, just to get this out in the open, do we want to put a 10-run rule in effect?
That's what happens.
Or does the other coach like, Jay, please, like, don't let us get beat 35-0 in Alex Box Stadium. We want to come here and we want to make y'all better, and we love the accommodations. But I know it's not like that, and I know it's probably a mixture. It's definitely a mixture of the in between. But I really do wonder what that conversation is like, just knowing that you're that much better than these teams. And I added up the records. So far this season, I'm going to go lightning round. We have played Western Michigan, Southern, Kansas State, Iowa, Sam Houston, Texas, Butler, Central Connecticut State, Lamar, Sanford, and UNO. If you had to guess, what is the combined record of those teams?
That would be very hard to guess. What about win percentage? I'll give you 216 win percentage.
216 win percentage,
Yeah.
as in like 216, like 216%.
22, 216.
No, they actually have a positive winning percentage. They're actually above 500. So the teams that OSU's played, all I did was add up their record, and this doesn't say much because you go to different situations, you go play in cold weather, you go play in wherever, but the combined record of all these teams is 91 and 81. That's slightly above 50% winning percentage. So my point is that although you can look at this from two sides, LSU hasn't had a pre-SEC schedule run like this in many, many years. LSU is absolutely crushing teams. We have 6 10-run rule games, and that is only the games that the coaches have agreed to that there's going to be a 10-run rule in effect. So out of the 17 games we played, 6 10-run rules.
Yeah,
that's one stat.
You know what Chris Blair is calling the post-game show? The 8th inning show. Like that?
I have not heard that. Honestly, that is the first time I've heard that, and that's electric. I love that, and Chris Blair is doing a great job calling the games on the radio, and a lot of the times the radio broadcast is transferred over into the TV broadcast on the SEC Network Plus. So it is enjoyable, but Chris Blair, and I think Chris Blair would admit this, and I'm going to go on record. This is not a hot take in my eyes at all. It's actually a very, very cold take. But Chris Blair doesn't hold a candle to Lynn Rollins, who, by the way, has had some absolutely fire.
They have different jobs.
Sure, but they're painting a picture of a game in a different way. Chris Blair is painting the game with braille, right? Yeah. He's painting the game with not being able to see it. He's painting the game with braille letters, and Lynn Rollins is painting with a fine Michelangelo canvas.
I like Chris Blair. I think
I do too.
And he got a lot of criticism whenever he first started at LSU.
How do you replace Jim Hawthorne?
How do you replace Jim Hawthorne? Very hard to do. But as these last couple, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years now, probably 5 or so years, 6 years, he's gotten, you can tell he's more attached to the city and the town and the teams, and seeing his reactions during the big games. That's something you can't fake. So I understand how hard it could be at the beginning if you didn't grow up an LSU fan. So credit to him. I know, Lynn Rollins he's a legend, but I wanted to get a little. No,
I think that's a very accurate statement that you just said. Chris Blair is so you can tell by listening to him, he's so punctual with the way that he narrates the game.
And he had a great call at the end of LSU's win.
He's got a lot of great calls already.
Game losing streak. You could hear the emotion in his voice because he felt for those players and those coaches that were there every day. He's seen it all. He's calling every game. He's seeing them on calling games on the radio that you're not watching.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate that was no knock against Chris Blair. I think he has done as good a job as any who could come in. I mean, Jim Hawthorne. I mean, you have people who have lived their whole life up to a certain point listening to Jim Hawthorne call games, and then you get this guy from where is he at, Georgia Southern. I'm just saying, like, he's done very well for coming in.
And that type of thing takes time.
Sure.
It takes time to get attached to the coaches, the players, the school, the city, all that.
And he's been great. But that wasn't a knock Chris Blair. I was just saying. All right. So, like we said, the run differential for the 4-game stretch, the last 4 games, 52-2. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention just the highlights. We're going to do the Sports Center. Jared Jones, 2 home runs Friday night against Samford. Lucky you and I were at a crawfish bowl, but we both happened to be looking at the TV during both of Jared Jones' home runs. That was electric.
Well, he in the at that before he hit those 2, he hit the top of the fence. So he hit the top of the fence for a double, and then he hit 4 consecutive home runs going into the next day.
Yep. Skeens did his classic. Skeens does this classic little thing where he comes out and throws 6 innings and 12 strikeouts. You know, and he does it in kind of a masterful way. So I'm interested to see how that carries on into SEC play. We'll get to that.
He's done a lot of fastballs.
Yes. Saturday, absolute beatdown, 12-0, 11 hits to 1. No errors. We only made 1 error on the weekend. Our errors are significantly down from last year. That's a point that I got written down right here. Like, you can tell that this offseason, Jay Johnson took Jordan Thompson and the guys over at Air Pro.
And listen, John, it's so early, so I don't want to celebrate.
I know,
but I haven't gotten one apology about being right about Jordan Thompson yet. And I got all the receipts, too. Got a lot of friends that were, hating on us, getting on us, listening to the podcast. Why I keep supporting them, all this kind of stuff. But we haven't gotten any apologies. I don't know if you have, but.
Well, James, just like I do for you, because you do my taxes, I keep all my receipts in a folder in my filing cabinet. I'm one of the only people I know that actually has a filing cabinet that keeps paper receipts, and I keep the receipts for you.
So, John, he's a good client. He's probably not going to go to jail, so.
Probably not going to go to jail. Are you kidding me? Anyway, all right. I'll be the first to say I wouldn't make it in jail. But anyway, all right. So moving through the weekend. First of all, it was a very pleasant weekend at the Box. Like the weather ended up holding up. They actually moved up the Sunday game from 1 p.m. We mentioned last week it was going to be at 1. No rain at all. No rain at all in the greater Baton Rouge area. It was insane. I live literally like 5 miles from campus. So they, for reference, they shut down the stadium if there's lightning within 6 miles of campus. So there was no rain. And, side note, my dad put a little weed and feed in the yard and was furious that there was no rain because they have to, that the weed and feed only works if there's rain. You put it out right before it rains, gets rid of the weeds, keeps the grass nice and green for us. Me and him, we're trying to get tan for the summer coming up.
It seems like it's coming along nicely.
Yeah, so as you can tell,
I'm watching YouTube to see that.
If you are watching on YouTube. So anyway, LSU, the main takeaways are, our pitching staff is coming along. Jay Johnson's finding out who he can trust, where he can put people. I think Riley Cooper started at the beginning of the year was kind of I don't want to say stopgap because he's been very good in the relief role.
And Ty Floyd has had some really good numbers. I don't know if you're about to get to that, but
I got his numbers.
He's had some really good numbers, and he's pitched well. He's improved, and he's going to be an important part of this year and an important part about winning games in SEC play.
Ty Floyd is pitching a 1.08 ERA through 16.2 innings pitched. The only pitcher on LSU staff with that many innings under his belt, right? Like say a pitcher came in for 2/3 of an inning. The only pitcher who is pitching better than that is Paul Skeens, 0.75 ERA thus far, 24 innings pitched, 48 strikeouts. Guess how many walks?
4. I was gonna guess
4. We said it. We said it at the same time, so I count that. Like you say that just
I can't even remember them.
Right. Like
There's so few.
And guess how many innings he's pitched in every single one of his starts?
6.
6, give or take. Yeah, I'm not.
Just out. Yeah.
You're right. He's pitched 24 innings. I think that is the most important thing. And like me and you were talking about, like I haven't really heard it that much, but if you think back to before the season, people were like, "Oh, Paul Skeens is gonna throw 6, 7 innings on Friday nights, and then he's gonna hit Saturday and Sundays." This team doesn't need that. Paul Skeens doesn't need that, given that he's going to be a very high MLB draft pick.
It would
in the
be
future.
fun to watch him hit, but like I would feel so bad, especially in baseball. It's such a
That's like Diaz last night in the World Baseball Classic.
That's exactly the same thing. It's like, what if something happened to him? This kid has got a chance to sign for $10 million, which is just like life-changing money, and you wouldn't want to see him getting hurt on the bases. It would be different maybe if we were really struggling at the plate and felt like we needed him to win, and he was like, I really want to hit, but I think it's the right decision. You just can't lose him. He's too important to the pitching staff.
Yeah, and I think it has to be the right time. Like, say for example, I mean, this is so even hard to imagine. It's so hard to imagine, but just there is a situation in which it would happen. I mean, you have to, I guess, prepare for that. And I don't want him to stop taking cuts at practice, but at the same time, it's like he's in the MLB. Like, aren't they already moving to get rid of the pitchers have to bat in the AL?
Yeah.
Aren't they trying to like get rid of that anyway? So
Yeah.
I feel like his future is on the map. Like, and you think about it. Like, this is a quick example. Aaron Nola. I remember I used to follow the Cowboy Twitter when I was in middle school, and they'd be like, Aaron Nola jacks a 2-run home run or whatever. Like, he was awesome at hitting in high school,
but the best pitchers,
but you move
the best
up.
hitter as well.
Exactly, you move up, and the game doesn't. It's not as forgiving, right? Like, you get to a certain point where you're like, okay, hey, all right, what am I the best at, and how can I succeed the best? And to be honest with you, I do think that if you look at it the other way, if he starts hitting and focusing so much on hitting, we've seen no evidence of it thus far, but it might start affecting his pitching. So
yeah.
I don't think this team can. This team maybe. No. I'll go ahead and say it. This team can't afford to lose him in the starting rotation, eating up 6 innings every Friday night.
John, quick question.
Go ahead.
What kind of pizza do you want?
Hey, okay. All right. So
I wasn't expecting that.
So I knew you were going to hit me with this at some point during the episode. We're recording late night on a Thursday night. I'm a big meat lovers guy. I'm a Supreme guy.
Okay, so we're talking Domino's too, because that's the
Demos, Domino's, neighborhood joint. I'll be honest with you. I'll eat whatever pizza that you order, except for one with pineapples on it.
I'm not doing that. It's got to be something meat on it. I'm with you on that.
Meat lovers or Supreme. I do just want to say I have nothing against I want to say this too, just to get it out there. Like, I have no problem, or I wouldn't have a problem with pineapples on a pizza. I actually think it would taste good in the right mixture, but I've drawn a line in the sand before I even liked pineapples that I can't do it. I can't do it, and it's one of those things that you would like. Like, say for example, like sometimes even if you don't do drugs or whatever, like drugs in some instances have good aspects to them, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, but that doesn't mean you should do them or do them to an excess. So that's my thought process behind that. Like, I'm not afraid that I would enjoy it, be addicted to it, or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, just because something sounds good doesn't mean you should do it.
Yeah, and I like pineapple, and I like, but I don't want it on pizza.
I know.
So I agree with you there.
And all right, so
Hand toss good with you?
Hand toss. You know what's a good deal on those? The cheesy bread bites.
Oh, I'm getting cheese breads on.
Throw them in for $2.99 or whatever.
No, we're getting
Full cheesy bread. All right, I'm in. All right, I'm in. Wow, this night just got a hell of a lot better, which I didn't know it could. All right, so moving on to this weekend, Luffy, you need to get ready to clean up our previous LSU baseball series. I know you're always ready to talk to Martine. We were actually with
Martine was grinding today. He was grinding on our float for St. Patrick's Day, and you know what that means? There's going to be a lot of trash out on the streets. If you need a dumpster, you need a portable container, you need a porta potty for this weekend. Yo, we're having a party. Martine, we need a porta potty. We need a luxury restroom rental. We need a roll-off dumpster. Call Martine at Workbox. It's 225-343-4886. Call Martine at Workbox. It's 225-343-4886. Cleanest porta potties, best dumpsters, best portable offices, best luxury restroom rentals, best storage containers. Call Martine at Workbox. 225-343-4886.
Beautiful. 225-343-4886. All right. We've delved into it. I think the conversation, honestly, you know what? Like, I feel like at this time last year when we were talking LSU baseball, it was like, oh, like this team's good. Blake Money's going to be our Friday night guy and all that. And we're going to get to that. I actually have that written down. Like, what is the deal with Blake Money? Is he injured? Is something going on? I want to delve into that, but I think the thing that LSU baseball fans have been waiting for is like this weekend. You get to a certain point watching us beat the ever living crap out of these teams that have, you know, on average a 50% a little bit over a 50% win percentage, and you're like, all right, you know what? Is this team just playing a child's game, or is this team for real? And I think what better of a test than going on the road for your first SEC game series to College Station to take on the A&M Aggies. By the way, I might add the number 11 A&M Aggies. You know, it's your typical weekend series. LSU and Texas A&M face off on Friday night at 6 p.m., moving on into Saturday at 2 p.m. and on Sunday at 1 p.m. I don't know if they're as lenient as LSU is as far as, you know, like schedule goes. Like, oh, can we move a game up like a day before to 3 o'clock instead of 7?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing that might affect LSU this weekend is the weather. I think going over to College Station, you're looking at AM showers on Friday into the afternoon, high at 55, low at 44. 55% chance of rain, Buffy. I mean, like, this is some conditions that LSU hasn't played in wet, rainy baseball yet. Moving on into Saturday, the temperature's not really going to change much. Chance of rain decreases. Moving on into Sunday, more of the same. You're actually touching 35 on Sunday. Now, I assume that's as Sunday turns into Monday, but more or less, like, the high is 55. So, I am interested to see how this LSU baseball team performs given the changing weather. That being said, the fluctuations in weather have not affected this team really at all. It was cold when LSU went over to the Round Rock Classic, and you know, despite the one blemish this LSU team has is getting stolen by Iowa.
I think it's going to be rocking over there in College Station. I think the fans are going to be ready to go there, and it's going to be a little bit of a different atmosphere we played in. So that should be fun, though, for the group.
You know, and the one thing I start to think about is, and you might actually, this is something you would know, A&M is ranked number 11. Yeah. This is by far LSU's hardest task. I mean, LSU's, I would say, throw out the Iowa game. I think if LSU plays Iowa in a 3-game series, I think we beat them. I think we win the series.
It is baseball.
It is baseball, and that's going to happen. But Texas is 11-7. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's non-conference scheduling, more or less, right? Like, their conference schedule. They might have played 1 or 2 or 3 games here and there, but overall their record is 11-7. So I'm trying to be able to put this in perspective that LSU is in high school. LSU is a senior in high school, and they are playing against teams that are made up of all eighth graders or whatever. You know, I mean, LSU is pro athletes playing against the freshman team at LSU.
It's obvious. I think people made it pretty obvious by now that there's been a big gap in the competition. So, you know, we're gonna see. I mean, I think what would you consider a successful weekend? Which ones do you usually like?
Whatever you want. I like it loaded.
I don't
like it loaded, but I
don't even see any cheese bread bites on here.
Well, normally it pops up right whenever you're like checking out. You know what I'm saying? Like you check out and like you want to add the 16-piece cheesy bread batch for $2.99, and the answer has never been no. I don't even know why they offer a no option. You know what I'm saying? But all that to say, I think, dude,
So what would you consider a successful weekend? That's my last question.
Well, no, a successful weekend would be
a series.
I think, yeah, you have to win 2 out of 3. I think dropping 1 game to the number 11 team in the country when it's so hard to not get your head up high when you've been going on 4-game stretches where the other team scores 2 runs and you score 52. But if there's anybody to lead this team into a road series, Jay Johnson is a genius for scheduling this way because this is always what it's like. You always play, you know, rough, not like rough as in not good, not rough as in difficult, but you always play non-conference games that you just kick the crap out of them. But at the same time, it's been forever since we've seen an LSU team kick the crap out of these crappy teams like they are doing right now. None of it matters if it doesn't translate to the SEC. The SEC is coming for us. We have a tough schedule coming up. You know, after this weekend, we have Arkansas and Tennessee. Now, Tennessee's had their struggles early on. That you know they've had a few mishaps here and there. Vitello got suspended, kind of in a self-imposed ban type of role, but it's one series at a time.
Yeah.
And Jay Johnson is, you know, I don't know exactly how the scheduling works, but us going on the road for our first SEC weekend series,
he doesn't control that.
I know, but what I'm saying is like if there is any control that we can have, we ought to go on the road for an SEC, you know, opening series against a good team every year to get it out. To figure out what's wrong. Jay Johnson's literally like, all right, I'm not going to say he doesn't care about the first half of the season, but he's using the first half of the season to determine what he needs to do for the second half of the season. It's next level thinking that Jay Johnson's doing. Jay Johnson is playing chess while we're playing checkers. And not we, because we see it. But while, I don't know, these other teams, which they're good teams, UNO, it was great to see Blake Dean come into Tiger Stadium. It always is. Blake Dean is one of the most decorated LSU baseball players of all time. He's one of the few people that are still in this area that get to say they won a national championship at LSU and hit the way they did. But to sum it all up, we got to win the series. We have to win every single series.
Yeah.
If you don't win the series, it's an unsuccessful weekend. And if you get swept, it's embarrassing.
So embarrassing if you get swept, but it's also just terrible for your standings and getting that top 8 national seed.
This is where the IPR starts. This is where the RPI starts.
IPA, you're thinking IPA.
I do want an IPA. It's Thursday night. I'm ready to get to the weekend. But seriously, like, I mean, this is where it starts.
Yeah, I went.
All right. So
Our guy pick cannot lose. That'll be our only pick we're giving the podcast this week.
Okay. Are you gonna hype up the
House of Tiger? I'm saying win 2-1. That's my.
You want to hype up the House of Tiger?
Yeah. Thank you for your prediction too for the series. House of Tigerland and Jeff and Casey. If you see Casey Field, he better be wearing his. So go to the house and I need you to report back to me and make sure Casey Field is wearing his Out the Box hat. He looks great in it. House in Tigerland's the best bar. It's always been the best bar in Tigerland. That's where I've been out the most. Best music, best DJs, best service, fastest line to get in if there is even a line. Best drinks, best bartenders. Jeff and Casey at the house, go see them. It's the best bar to be at. HouseInTigerland.com.
Springtime.
Merch. I'm usually wearing my merch, but it's getting a little warm in the spring.
You need new merch.
I know. I need to. I need to get a T-shirt or something. And go follow them at House in Tigerland and
HouseInTigerland.com and on Facebook and Instagram at House of Tigerland. Twitter's at Tigerland House.
At Tigerland House. Yep.
Facebook and Instagram House of Tigerland and
House of Tigerland.
Well, hold on. Couple more miscellaneous stats. I spent so much time writing these down. LSU baseball.
For forever.
LSU baseball is batting .338 as a team heading into SEC play. Even if that takes a drop off, that means we're going to be batting .300 as a team. That's huge. Paul Skeens, .75 ERA. I already said that. Yeah. Tommy White has 6 home runs. Gavin Dugas and Dylan Cruz have 5.
Yeah.
So
and Paxton Kling's gotten really hot.
Kling is also he's batted .425, 17 hits, and he's got 3 home runs. So that's kind of what we've been looking for. Joe Burrow.
Dylan Cruz's on base percentage. It's 7 something. Oh, we didn't have that one.
I mean, dude, when you look at baseball, I feel like there's more stats in baseball than there is in any other sport, right? There's got to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of these advanced analytics now.
But if you think about LSU's batting average, that is the most conservative stat that you can get. If you look at a stat like the quality at bats, the quabs that Chris was talking about a few weeks ago, I mean, we got to be getting over 50% of our at-bats as being quality at-bats if we're batting .338. I expect the .338 number to drop off, getting the SEC play starting, but at the same time, not really. I mean, we have dogs. So anyway, Luffy, can't lose. House always wins pick. This is it.
And you can't. You have to wait until tonight after the game's in to bet this.
We're riding.
We can bet it live probably on legal sports book.
We're riding as a podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alabama to win it all. They will not lose. They walk to the Final Four. They walk through the Final Four and they win it all. NATO scumbag wins it all.
Not a fan of that. Actually, in my bracket, I have Kansas beating Alabama in the national championship by a final score of 79-74.
Ooh, I like that.
Which is difficult because Alabama's averaging a lot of points. So, and that was strictly because I do not want Alabama to win. That's it. So, the Alabama train carries over into basketball. It carries over into every sport. Nick Saban has forced me to dislike every Alabama sport. So, all right. Lumpy, we got a little bit to clean up. We did the House Always Wins segment. We shouted out the House Bar. We shouted out Workbox. We shouted out Blaine. St. Patrick's Day is this weekend.
Yep.
St. Patrick's Day is on Saturday, early morning. I'm gonna be an early evening too.
Yep.
I'll just go ahead and say it. I get tired easily. Now that we're moving on into our old age, people always talk about the back half of your 20s being just rough. You're getting older. You're starting to, what's funny is that people always told me, they're like, yeah, you'll figure it out. You'll get it figured out. Not even close. Nothing has even reached the maybe point of figuring things out. But things are good. And I want to say that things that are good happen during the best time of the year. And during the best time of the year, you can look for us. I will be on Shamrock Shambles float. James has no idea what float he's on.
I've asked, I asked the leader of our float, Katie, calling out Katie.
Ooh, wow.
So let's see what she says.
You're going to have hell to pay for that.
I asked Katie, and she said, your float number 78 doesn't have anything to do with lineup or though.
So that means.
So I have no clue what we are.
Okay, well, if you look for number 78, then you ought to be able to find it. All Well, I wrote down a bunch of notes for this so that I'm trying to get through all of them.
You get through all of them?
Let's see. The last thing is, where's Blake Loney?
I think he pitched in the midweek game.
He did, but only like an inning or so.
Yeah.
Not like people don't forget. But what I'm saying is, like, I don't want people to forget. He was our Friday night starter last year, and I get that it was a different situation. But
I think he'll
is he injured? Is he injured, or is he just? Okay. Well, and look, I know Jay Johnson is very, I guess, particular and keen on like rehabbing guys and figuring out exactly when they're ready to go. And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about as well is Tommy White's back at third, or at least he was this past Sunday. Do you foresee him moving Tommy White from third base back to DH, or do you think he's back to stay?
He's back to third as long as he's healthy.
All right.
Mike has began prepping our order.
Hey, I can't wait. I cannot wait to see Mike. Shout out to the House Bar in Tigerland, Box LLC, Blaine Lou with Keller Williams Realty. We also want you to know that Keller Williams is an equal opportunity housing partner, each office independently owned and operated. Box LLC, Blaine Lou with Keller Williams Realty. I just named like multiple sponsors twice, but the reason I do that is because they're such great sponsors of ours, and they want nothing but the best for the Out the Box podcast. Please make sure to support them, and if you see a fellow Out the Box fan, make sure to thank them on behalf of us for the support. We cannot thank y'all enough. The Bracket Challenge, we got a great group of people joined in the Out the Box Podcast Bracket Challenge, and we are giving away a free Out the Box polo and an Out the Box hat to the winner of our Out the Box Bracket Challenge. If me or Rory win, love you is too scared to join, but if me or Rory win, we will not be collecting the prize. Please, if you win the Out the Box Podcast polo, please wear it and rub it in everybody's face. All right. I want to make an announcement for a very special podcast. He's been on the podcast before. Very great supporter of the Out the Box podcast. He actually posted. I'm calling him right now. I know it's bedtime for the little guy.
Okay.
No, he might not as well. But I'm calling Ethan Robarts right now. He mentioned that he'd be posting live, and I told him that we'd be following where he ends up. I'm gonna leave him a voicemail. Oh, he just texted me. Oh, he's at a rehearsal.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He is at a rehearsal. Tell him to answer. We don't give a fuck.
Hey, Ethan, I know you're out doing all kind of things out there at 9 o'clock on a Thursday night. Just wanted to let you know we are calling you live on the Out the Box podcast to figure out where you were going to end up. You stated that you were planning on taking your talents somewhere, and your match day was coming up. We wanted to get you on the Out the Box podcast. I told you I was going to cover it, but apparently you're at a rehearsal dinner. I guess stay tuned. We will live tweet as we get updates. But shout out Ebo Capone, great supporter of the Out the Box podcast. Shout out Augie Robarts, LSU 2040 linebacker and shortstop class. Shout out Ebo Capone.
Hey, look at Dr. Shim. He tweets out for the second year in a row. Dr. Shim.
Hold up.